flare Moustache, an 18 metre. Just going to discuss and talk about my recent flights with it with a PPG, a Monster 185. Just going to go through a few things that I've worked out with it and pass on a bit of my knowledge from my recent flights. I guess the big thing for me was my launches. What I found out about that is it's very similar to your normal wing launches, pulling on the A's to get it up on nil winds, running a little bit faster, and your runway also needs to be probably double the amount of runway you'd normally have due to the wind speed in order to take off. I've also found on nil wind launches with the 18 metre is that the initial climb out is not your normal climb out. It takes a little bit of time to build up enough energy in the wing, because once you've stopped running and you've pulled a bit of the brakes on to climb a little bit off the ground, you've got to give that back into the wing by letting your hands up very slowly in order to get your airspeed up. So although you've got off the ground, you still need a fair bit of open clear area in order to climb out over a longer period of time than you normally have with a wing. It's very easy to launch these wings in nil wind as well, just grabbing on the V part of the A lines where the two join together, as you've seen in other flare Moustache videos. By the final stage of the run, you're running at a sprinting pace, so you need to put a bit of effort in. I haven't had to change anything I do with my hands in relation to grabbing the A lines on launch, and also the steering toggles, the brake handles. I do them exactly the same. So I'm up in the air now. I will wait a little bit until I get a bit of height so I can make sure I've got a nice flying track. Then I can shuffle my bone into the seat, and then from here it's looking up at the wing, checking the lines. It's all good. The only time I take my hands off the brake is if both hands are up at the same height. By leaving one hand on the brake, I'm able to steer one way if I need to. But today here was nil wind conditions, no thermals, and quite smooth air. My Monster 185's got a few hours on it now, and it's not as pushy as it used to be. However, with hands up fully, I'm able to maintain height with full acceleration, and I'm actually climbing about 0.2 metre per second. So that way I'm able to maintain altitude with hands up. Before you go out and buy a Moustache, I probably recommend you have at least 150 hours under motor. Definitely start on the coast with a onshore breeze, probably about 4 knots, 5 knots would be perfect. Wear a little life jacket, inflatable life jacket when you're first starting out. I started on a 22 and then moved down to the 18. Always start your turning manoeuvres up high when you first start, get comfortable with it. The amount of control I need to maintain altitude when I'm foot dragging, for example, is only sort of centimetres within the steering toggles, so they're so manoeuvrable, and with so much energy generated by the wing, you're better off going in foot drag, hands up, and then gradually increase the brakes. The steering's very similar, however, if you're flying straight and level and you pull one toggle, you'll start your turn. Once you've started the turn, I like to pull both brakes down as in a slow flare, and that will increase the turn. Once you're in that with your hands slightly down, then bring the opposite hand up, so you end up having one hand up, one hand down, and that will increase the turn. Once you've done that, you can then come back into slight brakes to give you a bit of lift, and that will also increase your turn. So you've got several stages of turning throughout your turning process. Landing's probably the easiest thing to do with these Moustaches. You do need a bit of extra runway because you are trying to milk off a lot of energy out of the wing. So initially have hands up and then gradually increase the flare as you're going down. may have to run the final stages of it during a nil wind.